So the Prophet, when he came, he didn't change everybody's names and make them all get new names. Right? They have their names that they had in Jahiliyyah, unless the meaning was against a name. Then he would change it. So if they were like Abdul Lat, he would change it. Or Abdul Atiq, he would change it. But he didn't change names. Hamdala, he didn't change. Talha. Talha is the acacia tree because it's hard and it gives shade. And they used tree names because the Arabs really love trees. So people can use names. They don't have to have an Arabic name. And so you go to like Gule in Turkish, right? You have a name like that. It's a Turkish name, nothing wrong with that. So somebody says, why do you have that name? I mean, my son's name, Daniel, right? We were in Mecca, and he was in the restaurant, and some lady said to him, what's your name? And he said, Daniel. And she said, A'udhu billah, that's not a Muslim name. In Mecca, it's like, and he was like in tears. He comes up to me, and I said, what's wrong? He said, she asked my name. I said, Daniel. And then she said it wasn't a Muslim name. And I just went up to her and I said, taqillah. I mean, that's an taqulu ala Allah bighayri ilm. It's a dangerous thing to speak without knowledge. Just shut up. If you don't know something, la taqfu ma laysa laka bi ilm. Don't go in areas you have no knowledge of. The better response is, I've never heard that name, I didn't know Muslims use that name or something. But to say it's not a Muslim name, because Daniel is in the Qasas al-Anbiya of Ibn Kathir. He has a chapter called Bab Daniel. It's in the Hadith. The Indian and Malay Muslims use it as a name for their children, right? It's the reason Arabs don't use it is because it's a very common name amongst Arab Christians. And they don't want to confuse, traditionally, their children with the Christian children. Right? So that's fine. That's urf, if you want to distinguish yourself. Because the Christians have certain names that they use. Most Arabs can identify Christians by their names, whether they're Coptic or Lebanese, or because they use certain names the Muslims don't use, and vice versa. So that's an example just of, you can use any name that's good if it's from your culture. If you want to call your child, a good name, that's fine. Or if you want to use the names like John, if you're a convert to Islam, or you're raised in the West and you want to use John instead of Yahya, the Turks say Mehmet. They don't say Muhammad. They say Mehmet. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's why Joshua becomes Joshua. For instance, in the Quran, you have Ibrahim, which is qira'ah sab'iyah, and then you have Ibrahim, which is a qira'ah sab'iyah. It's a valid recitation. So if you called your son Ibrahim, it's as valid as Ibrahim because it's a sound qira'ah. Or if you want to call him Abraham, there's nothing wrong with that. These are issues that, were resolved centuries ago, and they just shouldn't be issues anymore. But this is problems arise. And then humility. I didn't know that. I mean, people say that, like, really? I didn't know that. Well, gee, do you know everything? I mean, is it really surprising that you should say, I didn't know that? There's lots of things you don't know. I remember years ago, I was in the Emirates, and they brought these tiny little finger bananas that I'd never seen before from India. And I was like, subhanallah, I've never seen a banana like that. And the Shaykh said to me, there are many things you've never seen in this world. Right? That was a good lesson for me. There are many things that you've never seen in this world. And there's even more things that in the next world that we haven't seen. مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ وَلَا أُذُنٌ سَمِعَتْ وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. No eye has seen or ear has heard or even occurred to the heart of a human being. That's the akhirah. Ibn Abbas said, لَيْسَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا الْأَسْمَاءِ. The only thing that dunya and akhirah share is the names. The realities are completely different. So it's, when the Quran says there's grapes in paradise, don't think they're like these grapes down here, right?